what is so interesting is
You would think a family drama on television couldn't get any messier. But what happened in this episode left everyone stunned. Mary had been patient, careful, doing everything by the book, and yet, at the very moment she thought the property sale was moving forward, Robyn suddenly appeared out of nowhere with a stack of documents that changed everything. It wasn't just a little hiccup, this was a full-blown power play. Robyn demanded that Mary and Janelle sign a confidentiality agreement and a hold harmless clause, essentially trying to force Mary into silence about the money she was owed. You could feel the tension in the air. Everyone in the room froze. No one knew what to say. And yet, the cameras caught every flicker of disbelief on Mary's face. How could anyone pull a stunt like this in front of family? It wasn't just about the property anymore. It was about control. Cody and Robyn had been quietly orchestrating the whole situation behind the scenes, and now it was coming to light in the most dramatic way possible. Every move, every delay, every unexpected document suddenly made sense. Mary, who had always been careful and fair, was suddenly being positioned as the problem. Meanwhile, Cody and Robyn looked calm, almost too calm, like everything happening around them was part of a bigger plan no one else could see. Mary's frustration was palpable. She knew her money was at stake. She knew the agreements had already been signed months ago. Yet here was Robyn trying to rewrite the rules, using legal jargon to intimidate her. It was impossible not to feel for her. Every word she spoke carried a weight of truth, of someone who had been wronged, and was finally refusing to be silenced. And you could see the disbelief on Janelle's face too, caught between loyalty to Mary and the confusing, controlling presence of Robyn. But here's where it gets wild. This wasn't just about silencing Mary. This was a calculated move to protect Robyn and Cody, to cover up money that was owed to Mary, and to maintain control over property that should have been fairly divided. They had orchestrated it so perfectly that for a while it almost seemed like Mary's objections could be ignored, like she might actually back down. Every eye in the room could see the manipulation, yet it was almost impossible to challenge it without digging into legal documents and past transactions. And then there's the suspense of what Robyn is hiding. The NDA, the hold harmless agreements, the timing of it all. Why now? Why after months of silence? It felt like the episode was building to a moment that would expose not just the betrayal, but the full scale of the plan Cody and Robyn had been running. Mary's reaction was just the beginning. What comes next could change everything in this family dynamic. As the cameras rolled and the tension thickened, you couldn't help but lean in, waiting for the next bombshell. And the question hanging over everything is clear. How far would Robyn and Cody go to protect themselves? And how much more of this story will Mary have to fight to reveal? Before we dive into the chaos of this episode, let's rewind a bit and see how things got here. Earlier in the year, Mary, Janelle, and Cody had been navigating property deals that should have been straightforward, but nothing in this family ever is. The agreements were signed, the checks were sent, and everyone seemed to be on the same page. Well, almost everyone. Mary had been patient and methodical, making sure her share of the property and proceeds from past sales, like the Vegas home, were accounted for. She followed the rules, she involved lawyers when necessary, and yet somehow, the drama never ended. Meanwhile, Robyn had been quiet for weeks. You'd think silence meant she wasn't involved, right? But behind the scenes, she was watching, calculating, and waiting for the perfect moment to make her move. And Cody? Well, Cody was doing what he always does, trying to play the mediator, or at least appear that way, while keeping control firmly in his corner. This created a tension that was almost palpable. You could feel it between Mary and Janelle. Janelle wanted to trust Cody, wanted to believe the property deals were fair, but she could see Mary growing frustrated. And then there's Robyn, popping up at the last possible moment, acting like she had just stumbled into the drama. Rumors started swirling about a so-called backdoor deal. Some thought it was just a misunderstanding. Others suspected something more deliberate. The conflict over property equity wasn't just financial. It was emotional. By the time we get to the current drama, you can see the pieces falling into place. The tension, the rumors, the alliances, all of it is leading up to a moment that will reveal just how carefully orchestrated Robyn and Cody's moves really are. If you thought the drama was bad before, this is where it takes a sharp turn. Robyn and Cody's moves aren't just small slips or misunderstandings. They are deliberate, calculated, and designed to control the narrative. Robyn, in particular, knows exactly how to frame herself. On camera, she presents this image of a woman devastated by a broken family, someone clinging to the dream of unity while everyone else moves on without her. She talks about her emotional connection to the property, her heartbreak at seeing the family fractured. But if you pay attention, it's clear that her words are carefully chosen. She isn't upset about the property itself. She's upset about being caught in a situation where she could be held financially accountable. Her emotional pleas are strategic. Kody, meanwhile, works quietly in the background. He makes the moves that appear fair, the ones that make him look reasonable, but each step is designed to protect his interests and Robyn's. He leverages legal loopholes, times the transactions, and frames conversations in a way that keeps Meri off balance. While Meri is focused on following the rules and ensuring fairness, Kody is shaping the story so that he and Robyn benefit the most. Every late signature, every delayed decision is part of a pattern. By the time Meri realizes the full scope, she's already at a disadvantage, forced into defensive moves to protect what is rightfully hers. And this is where the emotional suspense hits. Meri is blindsided at nearly every turn. She trusted the process, trusted the agreements, and trusted that the family would act with honesty. But each interaction with Robyn and Kody reveals layers of manipulation. Robyn positions herself as the victim of a broken family, yet she is orchestrating delays, holding back signatures, and presenting legal documents at the last possible moment to pressure Meri into silence. Meanwhile, Kody maintains the appearance of the calm, fair head of the family, all while allowing the manipulation to happen. For Meri, it's exhausting, confusing, and infuriating. She's constantly questioning who she can trust. What makes this manipulation so insidious is that it isn't obvious to everyone at first glance. From the outside, it might look like normal family disagreements or disagreements over property. But when you see the timing, the documents, the selective storytelling, it becomes undeniable. This is a strategy to control Meri, to keep her from reclaiming what's hers, and to protect Robyn. And the big question looms over the entire episode. What will Meri do when she finds out the full truth? Will she finally confront the layers of deception? Or will Kody and Robyn's careful orchestration continue to keep her off balance? Every word, every move, every silent pause is setting her up for a revelation that could change everything. The moment Robyn handed over that stack of papers, you could feel the tension spike in the room. These weren't ordinary forms. They were a confidentiality agreement and a hold harmless clause, designed to silence Meri and protect Robyn and Kody. The timing couldn't have been worse. This wasn't part of the original plan, and Meri had no warning that these legal tools would suddenly be thrown at her. For weeks, she had trusted the process, signed the agreements, and assumed the property transactions were moving forward fairly. Then, at the last possible moment, Robyn steps in, completely changing the game. This isn't just legal paperwork. It's a weapon. The hold harmless clause meant Meri could not take action to reclaim money that was rightfully hers. The NDA tried to prevent her from speaking publicly about the transactions, about the unfair handling of funds, or about the backdoor deal rumors. Everything Mary had been counting on, every expectation of transparency and fairness, suddenly felt like it was slipping through her fingers. And Robyn's calm, composed demeanor only made it worse. You could see it in Mary's eyes, frustration, disbelief, and anger all rolled into one. The timing of Robyn's involvement made it even more dramatic. For weeks, she had been completely silent. She had let Kody manage the transactions, let agreements be signed, let tensions simmer. Then, at the final moment, she arrives with a fully prepared legal package, as if she had been waiting for the perfect moment to spring it on Mary. It wasn't about fairness or clarity, it was about control, and it hit like a lightning bolt. And this is where the tension between Mary and Janelle starts to spike. Janelle wants to trust Kody, wants to believe the process is fair. But seeing Mary's frustration and feeling caught in the middle, she's unsure where to stand. Mary's defensive posture makes Janelle question her own role. Should she side with Mary, who is fighting for what's right, or should she trust Cody and Robyn, who claim the agreements are standard? The family dynamic is already fragile, and these legal moves create a wedge between them, turning what should be a united front into a battlefield of uncertainty. But the shocking part is what they tried to hide from the cameras. The hold harmless and NDA weren't just bureaucratic paperwork. They were a calculated move to erase Mary's voice, to prevent her from exposing the manipulation, and to make it seem like any complaint from her would be unreasonable. This was about controlling perception, both inside the family and for anyone watching at home. Mary had to navigate not just the legal implications, but the emotional toll of being blindsided by people she had trusted. Every line she read, every clause she challenged, exposed the lengths Robyn and Cody were willing to go to protect themselves. It's a quiet kind of chaos, but the tension is unmistakable. And as the cameras rolled, you couldn't help but wonder, how far would they push before Mary finally pushed back? Now things get even messier. The financial side of this story is where the real stakes hit hard. Mary wasn't just fighting over property lines or signatures. She was fighting for money that was rightfully hers. Let's start with the Vegas home. Mary and Cody had jointly owned that property, each with a clear 50% share. By every legal measure, she was entitled to half of the proceeds. But when the house sold, Cody didn't just make a decision, he orchestrated a scheme. He took the full proceeds and funneled a large portion of that money to Robyn, effectively cutting Mary out of what she earned. It wasn't just unfair, it was fraudulent. Then there's Coyote Pass. On the surface, Robyn's attachment to this property looks emotional, almost sentimental. She talks about family unity, the dream of a shared compound, and the heartbreak of seeing the family fractured. But if you strip away the words, the reality is financial. The money that came from the Vegas home proceeds, the same funds Mary had every right to claim, went into Coyote Pass and later into Robyn's new home. Every dollar that Mary should have had access to was diverted to Robyn, quietly and strategically. The emotional story she tells is just a mask for the financial gains she's securing. Cody's role in all of this is just as critical. He timed the transactions, managed the agreements, and created narratives that made it seem like Mary's concerns were overblown or emotional, rather than legal and financial. Meanwhile, Robyn presents herself as the grieving wife, the one who holds the dream of unity. But the truth is clear. She benefits from every delay, every signature held back, every clause added. Her actions are calculated, and Mary is the one left navigating a maze of deceit. The tension between fairness and manipulation peaks here. Mary isn't naïve. She knows what she's owed, she knows who holds her money, and she sees the patterns of misdirection. But confronting them legally means facing an uphill battle against both strategy and perception. The emotional weight is immense. Watching someone you trusted manipulate not just the property, but the narrative of your life can be infuriating and exhausting. And yet, Mary doesn't back down. She stands firm, leaning on her legal team, refusing to be silenced, refusing to let the diverted funds disappear into Robyn's pocket. It's a tense waiting game. Every document, every delay, every claim of emotional attachment is part of the larger chessboard. Mary has the law on her side, and she's ready to assert it. But will her stand be enough to counter the layers of manipulation and diversion that Cody and Robyn have carefully orchestrated? The suspense is almost unbearable, because we all know this family doesn't play fair, and Mary's fight is far from over. The stage is set, the pieces are in motion, and Mary is about to make it clear that she will not be pushed aside. Janelle has always been the one trying to hold the family together, trying to navigate a role that feels impossible. In this episode, that tension hits hard. She wants to do right by Mary, but she's also loyal to Cody, and the lines between fairness and family hierarchy keep getting blurred. Watching her, you can see the struggle in her expressions, conflicted, uncertain, and sometimes frustrated. She knows Mary has been wronged, that Robyn and Cody have manipulated the property and the finances, but she's trapped in the middle of a system that rewards compliance and punishes confrontation. It's not that Janelle doesn't care about Mary. She does. She genuinely wants to see justice for her co-wife. But she also still sees Cody as the head of the family, the one with authority, and that complicates her choices. She tries to mediate, to act as the bridge between Mary and the rest of the family, but in doing so, she sometimes unintentionally undermines Mary's position. There are moments when she hesitates, moments when she softens her response or downplays Mary's frustration, and those tiny concessions give Robyn and Cody space to maintain control. One of the hardest parts to watch is how Janelle's desire for harmony clashes with reality. Watching Cody and Robyn react to her resistance is fascinating and infuriating at the same time. Their expressions shift from confident control to barely concealed frustration. Every attempt they make to manipulate the situation is met with a firm boundary from Mary. She's unshaken, and the power dynamics that they are used to controlling suddenly feel unstable. You can sense their panic beneath the surface, because Mary isn't playing by their rules anymore. Their calculated games, the NDAs, the threats of silencing her, they have less impact than they expected. The emotional impact of Mary standing her ground is immense. She isn't just fighting for money or property, she's reclaiming her voice. Every time she asserts herself, it's a reminder of how often she's been undermined and how long she's been forced into the background. The tension in these moments is almost unbearable, because you know the stakes are huge. If she falters, she loses her claim. If she steps back, Robyn and Cody win another round of manipulation. But Mary's determination creates a suspenseful rhythm. You're on edge, waiting to see who will blink first. And yet, even with all her strength, there's a lingering question. What else are Cody and Robyn capable of? Will they double down? Find another loophole? Another way to shift the narrative? Another distraction to pull Mary off her path? Or will her persistence finally force the truth to the surface, exposing the full extent of the manipulation? You can almost feel the entire room holding its breath, waiting for the next move. Will she finally get justice? Or will they find another way to manipulate her? That question hangs over every interaction, every tense conversation, every legal maneuver. Mary's fight isn't just for property or money. It's for truth, for fairness, and for the validation that she's been right all along. And watching her navigate this battlefield, refusing to be silenced, is both inspiring and nerve-wracking. The moment this episode aired, the reactions from fans were immediate and intense. Social media lit up. and people started dissecting every move, every expression, every word. And it's no wonder. What we saw wasn't just a family disagreement. It was a high-stakes game of manipulation, control, and carefully crafted narratives. Cody and Robyn have become experts at framing the story. In their version, Mary isn't standing up for her rights. She's portrayed as aggressive, unstable, and overreacting. Meanwhile, they paint themselves as the victims, the ones trying to hold the family together, the ones caught in a web of conflict not of their own making. Fans didn't buy it. Comments and posts poured in calling out the inconsistencies. People pointed to Robyn's last-minute NDAs, her calculated hold-on signatures, and Cody's financial maneuvering. Viewers quickly realized that the victim narrative was thin at best. Mary's integrity and persistence shone through, highlighting the contrast between what the cameras were showing and what was really happening behind the scenes. The tension between perception and reality became the focal point of the discussion online. And then, social media erupted after the latest episode aired. Clips went viral of Mary standing firm, refusing to be silenced, and calling out the diversion tactics. Discussions ranged from anger at Robyn's manipulations to admiration for Mary's courage. Some fans were frustrated with Janelle, questioning why she didn't fully support Mary. Others debated Cody's role in orchestrating the schemes, trying to figure out how much was his idea and how much was Robyn's influence. The episode became a conversation starter, sparking debates about fairness, loyalty, and trust in a family dynamic that's anything but simple. It's fascinating to see how viewers pick up on the subtleties that even the show sometimes glosses over. People notice the micro-expressions, the tone of voice, the timing of every move. They comment on how Robyn's emotional pleas contrast with the financial gains she's quietly securing. They dissect Cody's calm demeanor while knowing that behind it, there's strategy and manipulation at play. So, what do you think? Was Robyn really a victim of a broken family? Or was it all part of her plan to maintain control and silence Mary? How do you feel about Cody's involvement in all of this? Drop your thoughts in the comments because the online conversation isn't slowing down. And it's clear everyone has an opinion about who's really in the right. Behind the polished scenes of the latest episode, there were moves no one saw coming. Rumors of a backdoor deal circulated, whispers of financial maneuvers that could completely bypass Mary's rightful claims. And the truth? It wasn't Mary holding anything up. Every delay, every hesitation was orchestrated with precision. Robyn's timing wasn't accidental. She showed up at the last possible moment with the NDA and the hold harmless agreements, a full document designed to silence Mary and protect both herself and Cody. Cody's role in all of this cannot be overlooked. While Robyn played the emotional part, Cody maneuvered strategically. He had already secured Janelle and Mary's signatures on the property split months earlier, but Robyn refused to sign anything until March. That delay wasn't about fairness, it was about control. The backdoor deal narrative was floated as a distraction, a story to frame Mary as difficult or unreasonable. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the real objective was to retain financial benefits, manipulate the timing of the property sale, and ensure that Mary couldn't reclaim what was rightfully hers. Mary's response is what sets her apart in this tangled web. She didn't let threats or legal intimidation stop her. She involved her lawyers, scrutinized every clause, and refused to sign anything that would strip her of her rights. Her legal vigilance blocked the exploitation attempts at every turn. Without her careful strategy, she could have been silenced, cheated out of her equity, and left in the shadows, while Robyn and Cody maintained the image of benevolence. The tension between appearances and reality is staggering. Robyn continues to portray herself as the victim of a broken family, emotionally tied to the properties, when the real motivation is financial. Cody, calm and calculating, gives the impression of fairness, while orchestrating the moves that maintain their advantage. And Mary, caught in the middle, stands her ground, refusing to be manipulated or silenced. Watching these events unfold is a study in control, power, and the stark contrast between who benefits and who suffers. Every step, every document, every late signature adds layers to the story. And even though viewers see the arguments and the confrontations, the hidden truths are far more complex. Each maneuver reveals a family dynamic where manipulation and strategy overshadow emotional honesty. It's a reminder that what we see on camera is only part of the picture. The carefully timed NDAs, the delays in signing, and the attempts at silencing Mary were all part of a broader plan designed to maintain control and protect the interests of Cody and Robyn. And even after all of this, the family drama is far from over. Every revelation opens another question. Will Mary continue to expose the truth? Can Janelle finally navigate the loyalty conflicts? And will Cody and Robyn's carefully constructed narratives continue to hold? Or will the truth unravel in front of everyone? The tension is far from resolved, and the stakes are higher than ever.